I'm Clyde Lewis. You are listening to Ground Zero. The Vision for 2020 report by the United States Space Command begins with U.S. Space Command dominating the space dimensions of military operations to protect U.S. interests and investments, integrating space forces into warfighting capabilities from across the full spectrum of conflict. The motto of the U.S. Space Command is, the U.S. must be the master of space. The slogan appears on the patch on their uniforms as well as over the entryway to the Space Command headquarters in Colorado Springs. In a 1989 book, Military Space Force over the Next 50 Years, Congress said that the United States must control the pathway so that we can control access for corporations and governments by dominating space rather than being a global commons controlled by all the nations of the world. It would be controlled by the United States with tremendous profits for U.S. corporations. Issues in Science and Technology reports that there are a wide variety of space resources that include solar power beamed from space, minerals, metals, gases, rare earth elements, helium-3 as a fuel for nuclear fusion power generation, and materials for space manufacturing, fabrication of goods in space. Yet ordinary water is the focus of most serious near-term development efforts. Water, when split into its constituents, hydrogen and oxygen, provides the most efficient chemical rocket propellants known, and water is necessary for a human settlement. Water will become very valuable in the space race. The privatization of space travel is developing hand in glove with the militarization of space. Much of the research and development for space exploration has been paid for by the U.S. taxpayer, but private corporations are going to profit from this. International governance is not keeping up with the economic development plans of the United States and other nations. There's no international authority that provides an oversight function for the exploitation of space resources. Some countries, including Russia and Belgium, have urged the restriction of commercial development until such time as a binding international legal framework is developed, which brings us to the problem that we're facing with Russia and our relationship with our partners in space. Ever since this war has begun with Ukraine and the relationship with Russian space programs, the European Union, NASA, and all the groups combined, the other nations that are involved, all of our space relationships have been strained now. With the threats of heavenly martyrs being used to attack us from above and crashing the International Space Station, these threats are becoming eerie, if not prophetic, in a lot of respects. So the question is, with the tensions between Russia and the international space partners, and how we've had them simmering since the 2014 annexation of Crimea, this invasion now of Ukraine is going to permanently strain or sever many of the relationships we have or many that we've gained for space. So our space program is in jeopardy. Scientists across the world have touted the success of the international cooperation with Russia in space as a form of inspiration and soft power. But as of this month, it's over. Space is dead, unless you're going to look at it from a military perspective. Elon Musk received a tweet from Ukraine's deputy prime minister asking him to help with their deteriorating internet by sending Starlink hookups to aid in the conflict. And within 48 hours, Ukraine had the materials necessary to beef up their own internet. And some have questioned the safety of using satellite internet during a conflict, suggesting that the dishes that he sent could be targeted by Russian forces. John Scott Railton, who is a senior researcher at the Citizen Lab, that he basically started a thread on the internet saying that Elon Musk's offer to assistance was a good to see thing, but warned users to be careful, noting, quote, Russia has decades of experience hitting people by targeting their satellite communications. Starlink isn't the only satellite internet company operated in the region. In fact, commercial satellite internet company Viasat said that on February 24th, the day Russia invaded Ukraine, it suffered a cyber event which affected broadband services. So the company's not said who or what is behind it, but said it was experiencing a partial network outage affecting internet service for fixed broadband customers in Ukraine and elsewhere. So here's the thing about Ukraine. They don't have their own spy satellites. So where does it get its spy imagery? Well, it gets it from commercial satellites. They can become a target for hackers. They can become a target for Russians. And some of the companies behind these commercial satellites are located in the United States, and a lot of them provide other things with the satellite services like banking, finance, GPS, security. I mean, all these things are satellite programmed. So, should the conflict in Ukraine escalate further, all of the space equipment in the United States that directly helps the Ukrainian military machine becomes fair game for the Russians to attack. So, when you're looking at past precedent, Russian cyber attackers increasingly seem to target large-scale U.S. infrastructures. And there's only so much a consumer can do about it, despite the resulting disruption of their own lives. For individuals, the most important defense is to ensure any potential vulnerabilities in your devices are patched, whether it's through software updates or additional security measures such as two-factor authentication, where a code from an external device or app is used in addition to your password. The burden is arguably on the public and private sector to prepare for cyber attacks that affect satellites and space warfare. People will wonder where the malware is coming from, where the satellite disruptions are going to cause problems with cable, internet, finance. Now, we're talking about what? This Pluto conjunction? The way, if you believe in astrology, the way this is coming in is it's going to affect finance. It's going to affect money. It's going to affect banks. It's already running problems for banks in Europe. But this is the future.